I found myself in the middle of a hellish drama involving two relatives who turned out to be far more malicious than anyone could have imagined. If I were to tell my story to someone, they might think I'm a callous individual. However, if I explained why I acted the way I did, they would understand that I did nothing wrong compared to what my wife and her brother did to me. My name is Jason Miller, and my story begins in the sweltering summer of Chicago, where I worked as a sales manager for a large corporation. My wife, Emily, was 8 months pregnant, and I couldn't wait for the birth of our first child. We had only been married for 7 months after a whirlwind romance that seemed like a fairy tale. Emily was from a small town in Alabama, where she grew up with her younger brother, John. She often told me about the hardships they faced in their childhood and how they supported each other. I never suspected that behind this innocent story lay something horrific. One day, I was sent on a business trip to New York for a week. It was an important event, and I knew my career depended on its success. But something inside me urged me to return home early. I decided to cut my trip short and come back a day early to surprise Emily. I wanted to see her happy face when she saw me on our doorstep. When I returned to Chicago, it was late in the evening. I carefully opened the door to our cozy house, hoping not to wake Emily. But something felt wrong. The house was eerily quiet. I decided not to call out her name to keep the surprise. As I climbed the stairs, I heard voices coming from the bedroom. I felt a gnawing unease. As I got closer, I heard Emily moaning, but something was off. She was screaming her brother's name, which struck me as extremely strange. At first, I thought I misheard. But no, she continued to shout his name in the most inappropriate ways. I froze at the door, unable to believe my ears. Creeping toward the bedroom, I took off my shoes and began tiptoeing to get a better look at what was happening. As I got closer, I realized the sounds were coming from the bathroom. I paused for a moment, wondering what I was about to see. Maybe Emily was just talking on the phone. Or perhaps she was with someone who had the same name as her brother. But what I saw surpassed all my worst fears. I cautiously opened the bathroom door and saw Emily naked with another man. I couldn't see his face because he was facing away from me. But after a few moments, I realized that this man was her brother, John. They were kissing and touching each other in ways that normal siblings would never even consider. I didn't have the courage to storm in and fight for my dignity. I was paralyzed with shock. But I knew I had to understand the whole truth. How long had she been deceiving me? How many years had I been just a cover for their twisted relationship? I felt a surge of anger rising within me, but decided that I would not let them go unpunished. I took out my phone and started recording them to gather evidence. At that moment, they were in the bathtub, holding each other. John asked her if her husband suspected anything about the pregnancy. She replied that he didn't. In the video, she admitted that the child she was carrying was not mine, but John's, her brother's. She said she didn't want to abort this time because she wanted their legacy to continue as their father had. I stood there in utter shock, realizing that Emily was pregnant with her brother's child, not mine. Their conversation also revealed the lie about their upbringing. They had claimed to have grown up in an orphanage, but they actually had a mother who was serving time in prison in another state. John mentioned that it was her turn to visit their mother this month, but Emily reminded him that she couldn't travel because she was pregnant. I was filled with anger and disgust, but continued recording to gather as much evidence as possible. Finally, I left the house, got into my car, and tried to figure out what to do next. Where should I go? Who should I talk to? I felt betrayed, destroyed, and completely empty. I started the engine and drove to John's house, hoping his wife was unaware of everything. When I arrived, I began knocking on the door, and she answered with tear-streaked eyes. I told her what had happened and showed her the video. She was shocked and couldn't believe her eyes. At that moment, we both felt betrayed and alone. These events marked the starting point for the actions that would forever change our lives. I sat in my car for what felt like hours, trying to process what I had just witnessed. The shock, anger, and betrayal overwhelmed me, but I knew I had to take action. I couldn't let Emily and John continue their deceitful and twisted relationship without consequences. I decided my first step would be to confront John's wife, Lisa, and see if she knew anything about this horrifying affair. I drove through the quiet, dark streets of Chicago, my mind racing with thoughts of revenge and justice. When I reached John's house, I hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to expect. I knocked on the door, and after a few moments, Lisa opened it, her eyes red and puffy from crying. She seemed surprised to see me there, especially so late at night. "Jason, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I need to talk to you, Lisa. It's urgent," I replied, trying to keep my composure. She stepped aside and let me in. The house was dimly lit, and the silence was almost suffocating. I could tell something was terribly wrong even before I showed her the video. I sat down on the couch and took a deep breath. "Lisa, what I'm about to show you is going to be very hard to watch. But I need to know if you were aware of any of this," I said, handing her my phone. She looked confused but took the phone and pressed play. As the video played, her expression shifted from confusion to horror. When she saw her husband, John, in the video with my wife, she dropped the phone and covered her mouth with her hands. "Oh my God, Jason, I had no idea. I knew he was having an affair, but I never imagined it was with Emily," she sobbed. I felt a mix of relief and sorrow. At least she didn't know about their incestuous relationship, but now we were both devastated by the truth. "How long have you known about the affair?" I asked gently. "For a while now. He threatened to take our son away if I ever told anyone. I was too scared to confront him," Lisa admitted, tears streaming down her face. I moved closer to her and put a comforting arm around her shoulders. We were both victims of this sick and twisted relationship, and in that moment, we found solace in each other's company. We sat there for a while, sharing our pain and trying to come to terms with what we had discovered. After a while, Lisa spoke up, her voice stronger and more determined. "We need to do something, Jason. We can't let them get away with this." "I agree. We need to gather more evidence and come up with a plan. But first, I need to know everything you know about their past," I said. Lisa nodded and led me to John's home office. We began sifting through documents and files, hoping to uncover more about their twisted family history. As we dug deeper, we found records that revealed their father's abusive behavior and their mother's imprisonment. The pieces of the puzzle started to come together, painting a picture of a deeply dysfunctional and toxic family. Among the documents, we found letters and journals that detailed the abuse Emily and John endured as children. It was clear that their father's actions had left deep scars on both of them. But what shocked us the most was a series of letters from their mother, encouraging their incestuous relationship and urging them to keep their father's legacy alive. "This is sick," Lisa whispered, her face pale with disgust. "How could a mother do this to her children?" I shook my head, unable to comprehend the depths of their family's depravity. "We need to find their mother. Maybe she can shed more light on this." Lisa agreed, and we continued searching until we found the name of the prison where their mother was being held. It was in a small town in Indiana, not too far from Chicago. We decided to make the trip the next day, hoping to confront her and get more answers. As the night went on, Lisa and I grew closer, united by our shared pain and determination to seek justice. We made a pact to stand by each other and do whatever it took to expose Emily and John's relationship. Little did we know that our journey was just beginning and that the road ahead would be filled with more shocking revelations and difficult choices. The next morning, we set out early for Indiana, our minds focused on the task ahead. The drive was long and tense, but we found comfort in each other's presence. When we arrived at the prison, we registered to visit their mother, hoping she would agree to speak with us. After a short wait, we were led to a small, sterile visiting room. Moments later, an older woman with a stern expression entered. She looked at us with a mix of curiosity and recognition. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice cold and unwelcoming. "I'm Jason, Emily's husband, and this is Lisa, John's wife," I explained. "We need to talk to you about your children." Her eyes narrowed, and she sat down, crossing her arms. "What about them?" "We know about the relationship between Emily and John," Lisa said, her voice trembling but firm. "We need to understand why this is happening and how we can stop it." The woman's expression softened slightly, and she let out a deep sigh. It's a long story, one filled with pain and darkness. But if you really want to know, I'll tell you. We listened intently as she recounted the horrific abuse she and her children suffered at the hands of their father. She explained how his twisted influence led Emily and John down a path of incest and deceit. She admitted to encouraging their relationship, believing it was the only way to keep the family together and protect them from the outside world. By the time she finished, we were both stunned and horrified. The depth of their family's dysfunction was beyond anything we could have imagined. But now we had a clearer picture of what we were dealing with, and we knew we had to act quickly. "We can't let this continue," I said, my voice filled with determination. "We need to expose them and put an end to this once and for all." Lisa nodded in agreement. "But how do we do that?" "We'll start by gathering more evidence. We need to document everything and make sure we have a solid case. And then we'll go to the authorities," I replied. With a plan in place, we thanked their mother for her time and left the prison. As we drove back to Chicago, our resolve grew stronger. We were determined to uncover the truth and bring Emily and John to justice, no matter what it took. Little did we know that the path ahead would be fraught with danger and betrayal, testing our courage and resilience to the limits. But we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in our quest for justice and redemption. The drive back to Chicago was filled with a mix of dread and determination. Lisa and I knew that the revelations about Emily and John's past had only scratched the surface. We needed more evidence to ensure that their twisted relationship and deceit would be fully exposed. Back in Chicago, we decided to continue our investigation at John's house. Lisa mentioned that John often kept important documents and personal belongings in the attic, a place she rarely visited due to John's aggressive nature. We needed to find anything that could further incriminate them and provide us with the leverage we needed. We arrived at John's house and immediately headed for the attic. It was a dusty, cluttered space filled with old boxes and forgotten items. We carefully sifted through the piles, looking for anything that could help our case. Hours passed, and just as we were about to give up, we stumbled upon a locked box hidden under a pile of old clothes. Lisa found a small key in John's desk drawer, and we opened the box. Inside, we found letters, photographs, and a few journals. The letters were from their mother, filled with disturbing encouragements and twisted family secrets. The photographs showed Emily and John in compromising positions, evidence that would undoubtedly support our claims. The journals contained detailed accounts of their relationship, their plans, and their contempt for anyone who might discover their secret. Armed with this new evidence, we felt a sense of grim satisfaction. However, the hardest part was still ahead, confronting Emily and John and ensuring they faced the consequences of their actions. We knew we had to be strategic, careful, and precise. That night, Lisa and I sat in the living room, devising our plan. We decided to confront Emily first, hoping to catch her off guard and get her to confess. I would record the entire conversation to have further proof. We agreed that Lisa would stay out of sight initially, ready to step in if things got out of hand. Early the next morning, I returned to my house, my mind focused and determined. I found Emily in the kitchen, preparing breakfast. She looked up, surprised to see me. "Jason, you're back early. I thought you were still on your business trip," she said, trying to sound casual. "I decided to come back early," I replied, forcing a smile. "We need to talk, Emily." Her smile faded, replaced by a look of confusion and concern. "Is everything okay?" "No, it's not," I said, pulling out my phone. "I know about you and John." Her face went pale, and she stepped back, eyes wide with fear. "What are you talking about?" "I have evidence, Emily. I know about your affair, and I know the child you're carrying isn't mine. It's John's," I said, my voice cold and steady. Emily's eyes filled with tears, but there was also a flicker of defiance. "You don't understand, Jason. You don't know what we've been through." "Then explain it to me," I demanded, setting my phone on the counter and pressing record. She took a deep breath, tears streaming down her face, and began to speak. She recounted her childhood, the abuse, and how John was the only one who understood her. She admitted that their relationship had crossed the line into something more than just sibling support. She justified it as a means of survival, a way to keep their family together in the face of overwhelming trauma. As she spoke, I felt a mixture of anger, pity, and disgust. Her twisted logic and attempts to justify their actions only fueled my determination to bring them to justice. When she finished, I stopped the recording and pocketed my phone. "Emily, this ends now," I said firmly. "You and John need to face the consequences of what you've done." She looked defeated, her shoulders slumping. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to the authorities. We have enough evidence to expose everything. You can either come with me willingly or I'll do it without you," I replied. Just as I finished speaking, Lisa stepped into the room. Emily's eyes widened in shock and fear. "Lisa, what are you doing here?" Emily stammered. "I know everything, Emily. John has been lying to me. Just like he's been lying to you," Lisa said, her voice steady. Emily sank to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. "I never wanted it to be like this. I never wanted to hurt anyone." "It's too late for that," I said, my voice firm. "We're going to the police." With Emily in tow, we headed to the nearest police station. We presented the evidence we had gathered, including the video recordings, photographs, and journals. The officers listened carefully, their expressions a mix of shock and professionalism. After filing the report and handing over the evidence, we left the station. Emily was taken into custody for questioning, and the authorities assured us that they would launch a full investigation. As we walked out of the station, I felt a sense of relief and closure, knowing that the truth was finally coming to light. Lisa and I returned to her house, exhausted but resolute. We knew the road ahead would be challenging, but we were determined to see it through. We spent the next few days supporting each other, finding strength in our shared experiences and mutual goal of seeking justice. As the investigation unfolded, more details emerged about the extent of Emily and John's deception. Their mother's letters provided crucial context, and the evidence we gathered painted a clear picture of their twisted relationship. The authorities worked diligently to piece together the full story, and it wasn't long before the case gained media attention. The revelations shocked our community, and people struggled to comprehend the depths of betrayal and dysfunction. Emily and John faced multiple charges, including fraud, conspiracy, and other criminal activities related to their deceitful relationship. Throughout the ordeal, Lisa and I grew closer, finding solace in our shared mission. We attended every court hearing, determined to see justice served. The trial was lengthy and emotionally draining, but we stood by each other, unwavering in our resolve. Finally, after months of legal battles, Emily and John were convicted. They received significant prison sentences, and their mother's role in the affair also led to further legal consequences for her. The verdict brought a sense of closure, but the scars of their betrayal remained. Lisa and I continued to support each other, gradually rebuilding our lives. We found comfort in our shared experiences and slowly began to heal. In time, our bond deepened into something more profound, and we realized that despite the pain and trauma, we had found a new beginning. Years later, as we looked back on the events that had brought us together, we understood that our shared journey of seeking justice had forged a powerful connection. Lisa and I had found love and strength in each other, proving that even in the darkest times, there is always hope for a brighter future. With Emily and John now facing justice, Lisa and I were determined to uncover all the layers of their twisted past. We believe there might be more hidden truths that could provide context or additional evidence to support the case against them. Our journey took us back to John's house, where we decided to thoroughly search every corner for more clues. The attic had given us crucial evidence, but we suspected there might be more hidden in other parts of the house. We started in the basement, a dark, musty place that seemed rarely visited. Among the old furniture and dusty boxes, we found an old trunk that was locked. We forced it open and discovered more journals, photographs, and legal documents. The journals detailed their father's abusive behavior in excruciating detail, chronicling years of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse that both Emily and John endured. It was clear their father's influence had left deep psychological scars. One journal, in particular, was Emily's, filled with her thoughts and feelings about her relationship with John. She described how their bond had evolved from a sibling relationship into something more forbidden, and how their father's actions had twisted their perceptions of love and family. As we read through the entries, we found a recurring theme of fear and control. Their mother's letters encouraged them to maintain their relationship, reinforcing the idea that they were protecting each other from the outside world. It was a chilling reminder of how deeply their family dysfunction ran. Among the legal documents, we found records of their mother's imprisonment. She had been convicted of killing their father, a fact that made sense given the abuse they had suffered. However, what shocked us was the evidence suggesting she had manipulated the legal system to ensure minimal consequences for her actions. She had used her children's testimony to paint a picture of self-defense, hiding the full extent of her involvement in their twisted upbringing. These discoveries deepened our understanding of Emily and John's motivations and provided more ammunition for the legal case against them. But there was one more piece of the puzzle we needed to confront: their mother. We decided to visit her again, hoping to get more answers about the true extent of her influence over Emily and John. This time, we were armed with the evidence we had found, determined to make her understand the consequences of her actions. When we arrived at the prison, we were once again led to the small visiting room. Their mother, Sarah, entered with the same stern expression as before, but this time there was a glint of recognition and resignation in her eyes. "You're back," she said, sitting down across from us. "What more do you want to know?" "We found more of your letters, Sarah," I began. "We know you encouraged Emily and John's relationship, but we need to understand why." Sarah sighed deeply, her eyes hardening. "I did what I had to do to protect my children. Their father was a monster. You have no idea what we went through." "We do know," Lisa interjected, her voice steady. "We've read the journals and seen the photographs, but encouraging them to continue their relationship, that's beyond protecting them. It's perpetuating the abuse." "You don't understand," Sarah snapped. "They needed each other. They were the only ones who could protect each other from the world. By continuing a relationship that was fundamentally wrong," I asked, "you twisted their perceptions of love and family. You manipulated them into thinking it was the only way to survive." Sarah's expression softened slightly, a flicker of regret in her eyes. "Maybe I did. But what choice did I have? I was desperate to keep them safe." "Safe?" Lisa echoed. "You've ruined their lives. They're facing prison, and their actions have destroyed our families." Sarah looked down, her hands trembling. I thought I was helping. I thought I could protect them in my own way. "We need you to understand the consequences of your actions," I said firmly. "And we need your help to make sure they face justice. Will you testify to everything you've done and encouraged?" Sarah looked up, tears welling in her eyes. "If it means they can finally be free from this nightmare, then yes, I'll testify." With Sarah's agreement to testify, we felt a renewed sense of purpose. We returned to Chicago, ready to face the next phase of the legal battle. The trial was set to begin, and we were determined to see it through to the end. The courtroom was packed on the first day of the trial, the air thick with tension. Emily and John sat at the defendant's table, their expressions a mix of fear and defiance. As the prosecution presented the evidence we had gathered, including the video recordings, journals, and photographs, the reality of their situation became increasingly clear. Sarah's testimony was a turning point. She described in detail the abuse they had suffered and admitted to encouraging their relationship as a misguided attempt to protect them. Her confession added weight to the prosecution's case, painting a picture of a family caught in a cycle of abuse and manipulation. As the trial progressed, Emily and John's defense crumbled. Their attempts to justify their actions as a result of their traumatic upbringing were overshadowed by the overwhelming evidence of their deceit and criminal activities. The jury deliberated for several days, but in the end they reached a verdict. Emily and John were found guilty on multiple counts, including fraud, conspiracy, and other charges related to their relationship and actions. They received significant prison sentences, and Sarah faced additional legal consequences for her role in the affair. The verdict brought a sense of closure, but the emotional scars remained. Lisa and I continued to support each other, finding strength in our shared experiences. Over time, our bond deepened, and we began to rebuild our lives. We moved away from Chicago, seeking a fresh start in a new city. The memories of the past were still with us, but we were determined to create a brighter future. Our relationship grew stronger, and we found joy in the small moments of everyday life. Years later, as we reflected on our journey, we understood that our shared quest for justice had brought us closer together. Despite the pain and trauma, we had found love and hope in each other. And as we prepared to welcome our first child into the world, we knew that we had overcome the darkness and emerged stronger than ever. The dust from the trial had finally settled, but the emotional whirlwind it left in its wake was something Lisa and I would grapple with for years to come. We had moved to a small, serene town in upstate New York, far from the chaotic memories of Chicago. This new beginning was essential for our mental and emotional healing. Our new house was a quaint, two-story home with a white picket fence and a garden that Lisa took to tending every morning. It was a peaceful retreat, offering us the tranquility we so desperately needed. We both found solace in the simple, quiet life, but the shadows of our past still loomed over us. Lisa had decided to go back to school, pursuing a degree in psychology. She wanted to understand the complexities of human behavior, perhaps as a way to make sense of the traumatic experiences we had both endured. Her dedication and determination were inspiring, and I supported her every step of the way. I, on the other hand, had taken up writing. The cathartic process of putting pen to paper helped me process my thoughts and emotions. I began working on a memoir, detailing the events that had shattered our lives and the journey toward healing. It was painful to relive those memories, but it also brought a sense of closure. One crisp autumn evening, as the leaves turned brilliant shades of red and gold, Lisa and I sat on our porch, wrapped in blankets and sipping hot cocoa. The air was filled with the comforting scent of burning wood from nearby fireplaces. We talked about our day, our plans, and our hopes for the future. It was in these moments of quiet reflection that we found the strength to keep moving forward. "Do you ever think about them?" Lisa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I knew she was referring to Emily and John. Sometimes, I admitted, it's hard not to, but I try to focus on the future, on what we have now. She nodded, her eyes filled with a mix of sadness and determination. "I want to help others, Jason. I want to use our experiences to make a difference, to ensure no one else has to go through what we did." I reached out and took her hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "And you will, Lisa. You're strong, and your compassion will help so many people." Our conversations often circled back to the past, but over time, we found that the pain became less acute. We were healing, slowly but surely, and we leaned on each other for support. As the months passed, Lisa excelled in her studies, and I completed the first draft of my memoir. We celebrated these milestones together, recognizing them as important steps in our recovery. Our love for each other grew deeper, forged in the fires of shared trauma and the journey toward healing. One day, while sorting through some old boxes in the attic, I came across a forgotten envelope. Inside were photographs of Emily and John from happier times, before their twisted relationship had come to light. I showed them to Lisa, and we both sat in silence, reflecting on the complicated web of emotions these images stirred. "Do you think they ever loved each other the way normal siblings do?" Lisa asked, her voice tinged with sadness. "I think they were victims of their circumstances," I replied. "Their father's abuse, their mother's manipulation, they never had a chance to develop a healthy sense of love and family." Lisa sighed, tears welling up in her eyes. "It's so tragic. I just hope they find some sort of peace, even if it's behind bars." We decided to keep the photographs, not as a reminder of the pain, but as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. We placed them in a small box labeled "Past," which we tucked away in the attic. It was a symbolic gesture, acknowledging the past while choosing to focus on the future. Our journey toward healing was far from over, but each day brought new opportunities for growth and happiness. Lisa graduated with honors and began working as a counselor, helping others navigate their own emotional traumas. Her work was fulfilling and brought her a sense of purpose. My memoir was published and received positive reviews. Readers reached out to share their own stories of overcoming adversity, and I found a new community of support. The book became a symbol of hope and resilience, and I was grateful for the opportunity to help others through my writing. As the years went by, Lisa and I continued to build our life together. We traveled, explored new hobbies, and surrounded ourselves with friends who supported and understood us. We also became advocates for victims of abuse, using our story to raise awareness and promote change. One winter morning, as snow blanketed our little town, Lisa and I sat by the fireplace, the warmth and crackling of the fire bringing a sense of comfort and security. She looked at me with a serene smile and placed her hand on her growing belly. "We're going to be parents soon, Jason," she said softly. "Are you ready?" I felt a rush of emotions, joy, excitement, and a hint of nervousness. "Yes, Lisa, I'm ready, and I know we're going to be great parents." We had decided to start a family, and the prospect of welcoming a new life into our home filled us with hope and anticipation. It was a new chapter in our journey, one that promised joy and fulfillment. The day our daughter was born was one of the happiest moments of our lives. Holding her in my arms, I felt a profound sense of love and responsibility. We named her Grace, a symbol of the healing and redemption we had found together. As we watched Grace grow, we were determined to give her the love and security we had both been denied in our own childhoods. We cherished every moment, grateful for the second chance at happiness and family that life had given us. Looking back, I realized that our journey was not just about uncovering the truth and seeking justice. It was about finding hope in the darkest of times, about healing and rebuilding, and about the power of love and resilience. Lisa and I had come a long way from the pain and betrayal that had once defined our lives. We had transformed our suffering into strength and found a deeper connection than we ever thought possible. Together, we had built a life filled with love, purpose, and hope. And as we looked to the future, we knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, stronger and more united than ever before. As the years passed, our lives settled into a comforting rhythm. Grace brought immense joy and purpose into our lives, and watching her grow was a testament to the healing power of love and family. She had Lisa's bright eyes and my stubborn determination, a perfect blend of our best qualities. Lisa's work as a counselor flourished. Her own experiences gave her a unique ability to connect with her clients, and she quickly became known for her compassionate and effective approach. She specialized in helping victims of abuse, using our story as a beacon of hope and resilience. Every success story from her practice felt like a personal victory for both of us, affirming that our painful past had paved the way for positive change. My writing career also took off. Following the success of my memoir, I was invited to speak at various events, sharing our journey and the lessons we had learned. It was both therapeutic and empowering to turn our ordeal into a source of inspiration for others. I wrote a second book, a novel loosely based on our experiences, which also received positive acclaim. The process of storytelling became a vital part of my healing, allowing me to process lingering emotions and find closure. Grace was a bright, curious child. She loved hearing stories, and I often found myself weaving tales of bravery and resilience, subtly infused with the lessons Lisa and I had learned. She would sit wide-eyed, soaking in every word, her innocent questions reminding me of the importance of honesty and trust. Our home in upstate New York became the sanctuary. The peaceful surroundings, the close-knit community, and the love we had for each other created an environment where we could truly thrive. We spent weekends exploring nature, hosting friends, and building new traditions. Each day felt like a step further from the shadows of our past, a move toward a brighter future. One spring morning, as we prepared for a family hike, Lisa received a call from a national organization dedicated to helping victims of abuse. They had heard about her work and wanted her to lead a new initiative aimed at providing support and resources to survivors across the country. It was an incredible opportunity, and I could see the excitement and determination in her eyes. "Jason, this could make such a difference," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "We could help so many people." I took her hands in mine and smiled. "I know you can do it, Lisa. You've already changed so many lives. This is just the beginning." With my full support, Lisa accepted the position. It meant more travel and longer hours, but we were committed to making it work. We hired a nanny to help with Grace, and I adjusted my writing schedule to ensure I could be there for our daughter whenever Lisa was away. It was a challenging transition, but we faced it with the same determination that had carried us through the darkest times. Lisa's new role brought her into contact with other survivors and advocates from all over the country. She organized conferences, led workshops, and lobbied for policy changes to better protect victims of abuse. Her passion and dedication were inspiring, and I couldn't have been prouder of the impact she was making. Meanwhile, I continued to write and speak about our journey. My work took me to schools, community centers, and conferences where I shared our story and the lessons we had learned about resilience, love, and the power of healing. I also started a blog, creating a platform for survivors to share their stories and connect with others who had faced similar challenges. Grace thrived in this environment. She grew up surrounded by love, honesty, and the knowledge that even the most difficult experiences could lead to growth and positive change. We taught her about the importance of empathy, resilience, and the strength that comes from facing adversity together. One summer evening, as we sat on our porch watching the sun set over the hills, Grace asked, "Mom, Dad, why do you help so many people?" Lisa and I exchanged a glance, smiling at our daughter's perceptiveness. "Because, sweetheart," Lisa began, "we know what it's like to feel hurt and alone. We want to make sure that other people don't have to go through what we did. And because helping others makes the world a better place," I added. "It's our way of turning something bad into something good." Grace nodded thoughtfully, her young mind processing our words. "I want to help people too when I grow up." "You already do, Grace," Lisa said, pulling her into a hug. "Every day, you make our world a better place just by being you." Our journey had come full circle. What began as a story of pain and betrayal had transformed into a narrative of healing, growth, and love. We had found our purpose in helping others, and in doing so, we had built a life filled with meaning and joy. As the years continued to pass, we remained committed to our mission. Lisa's work expanded, reaching more people and driving significant changes in how society addressed abuse and trauma. My writing evolved, tackling new themes and exploring different genres, but always rooted in the core principles of resilience and hope. We watched Grace grow into a compassionate and driven young woman, inspired by the work we did and eager to make her own mark on the world. She excelled in school, participated in community service projects, and dreamed of becoming a doctor to help heal others. Our family became a symbol of what was possible when people refused to be defined by their pasts. We faced each challenge with determination and an unwavering belief in the power of love and resilience. Together, we had not only survived but thrived, turning our pain into a source of strength and inspiration. Looking back, I realized that the journey we had embarked on so many years ago had been one of transformation. We had taken the darkness that once consumed us and turned it into a beacon of light for others, and in the process, we had found a love and happiness that we never thought possible. As we sat together on our porch, the sun setting on another beautiful day, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. For Lisa, for Grace, for the life we had built, and for the opportunity to make a difference in the world. We had faced unimaginable challenges, but we had emerged stronger, more united, and more determined than ever to continue our mission of healing and hope. And as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, I knew that no matter what the future held, we would face it together, with love, resilience, and the unshakable belief that even in the darkest times there is always a path to light. With Lisa's role in the national organization and my ongoing writing and speaking engagements, our lives were busier than ever. But we managed to find a balance, ensuring that Grace always felt loved and supported. She thrived in school and made friends easily, her compassionate nature endearing her to everyone she met. One of the most significant challenges we faced during this time was the constant travel required by Lisa's job. While it brought incredible opportunities for growth and advocacy, it also meant she was often away from home. We had many late-night phone calls and video chats to stay connected, and we made the most of the time we had together. Despite these challenges, Lisa's work was making a profound impact. She was instrumental in passing several pieces of legislation that improved support for victims of abuse and increased funding for counseling and rehabilitation services. Her dedication was recognized with numerous awards, and she became a sought-after speaker at national and international conferences. My writing continued to evolve as well. Inspired by our journey and the stories of resilience I encountered through my speaking engagements, I wrote a series of novels that delved into themes of survival, hope, and redemption. These books resonated with readers and helped build a supportive community of individuals who had faced their own adversities. One of the most rewarding aspects of this period was seeing the tangible impact of our work. We received countless letters and messages from people who had found strength and hope through our story. Knowing that our experiences had helped others heal was incredibly fulfilling and reinforced our commitment to advocacy and support. As Grace entered her teenage years, we were mindful of the unique challenges that came with this stage of life. We made sure to maintain open lines of communication, encouraging her to express her thoughts and feelings. We also involved her in our advocacy work, teaching her about the importance of empathy, resilience, and standing up for what is right. Grace took a keen interest in volunteering and often accompanied Lisa to events and workshops. She developed a passion for helping others and decided she wanted to pursue a career in medicine, with a focus on trauma and recovery. Her determination and compassion made us incredibly proud, and we supported her in every way we could. During one particularly busy year, Lisa was invited to speak at a major international conference in London. It was a significant opportunity, and we decided to turn it into a family trip. Grace was excited to explore a new country, and I looked forward to spending quality time together as a family. The trip was a success in many ways. Lisa's presentation was well received, and she made valuable connections with other advocates and professionals. Grace and I explored the city, visiting historical landmarks and museums. It was a memorable experience that brought us even closer together. However, the trip also presented unexpected challenges. During a panel discussion, Lisa was confronted by a journalist who questioned the authenticity of our story, implying that we had exaggerated or fabricated details for attention. The accusation was hurtful and infuriating, casting a shadow over what had been a positive experience. We returned to our hotel that evening, the weight of the confrontation heavy on our minds. Lisa was visibly shaken, and I felt a surge of protectiveness and anger on her behalf. "That journalist had no right to question our experiences," I said, my voice firm. "We've been through so much, and we've always been honest about our story." Lisa nodded, her eyes filled with tears. "I know, Jason, but it still hurts. It feels like a betrayal after all the work we've done." Grace, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. "Mom, Dad, you've helped so many people. Don't let one person's doubt overshadow all the good you've done. We know the truth, and so do the people you've helped." Her words were wise beyond her years, and they brought a sense of clarity and resolve. We decided to address the issue head-on, contacting the conference organizers and providing additional documentation to support our story. The organizers were supportive and issued a statement reaffirming their confidence in Lisa and the authenticity of her experiences. The incident was a reminder of the challenges that come with public advocacy, but it also reinforced our commitment to our mission. We knew that the work we were doing was important, and we would not be deterred by skepticism or criticism. As we settled back into our routine at home, we continued to focus on our goals. Lisa expanded her reach, collaborating with international organizations and developing new programs to support survivors of abuse. Her efforts were recognized with a prestigious humanitarian award, a testament to her dedication and impact. I completed another novel inspired by the resilience and strength of the people we had met through our advocacy work. The book received critical acclaim and became a bestseller, further solidifying my career as a writer. Grace excelled in her studies and extracurricular activities, preparing for college and her future career in medicine. We supported her every step of the way, proud of the young woman she was becoming. One summer, we decided to host a retreat for survivors of abuse and their families at a beautiful lakeside resort. The retreat was designed to provide a safe space for healing, connection, and empowerment. We invited counselors, therapists, and motivational speakers to lead workshops and activities. The retreat was a resounding success. Participants shared their stories, supported each other, and found hope in the collective strength of the group. It was a powerful reminder of the importance of community and the impact of our work. As we stood by the lake on the final evening of the retreat, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. Lisa stood beside me, her hand in mine, and Grace played with the other children, her laughter echoing across the water. "We've come a long way," Lisa said softly, her eyes reflecting the beauty of the sunset. "Yes, we have," I replied, squeezing her hand. "And we've made a difference. That's what matters." As we watched the sun dip below the horizon, I knew that our journey was far from over. There would be more challenges ahead, but we would face them together with love, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. And as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, I realized that the future was bright, filled with endless possibilities and the promise of new beginnings. Our story, once marked by pain and betrayal, had become a testament to the power of healing, hope, and the enduring strength of the human spirit.